you.
Okay, so I guess I can get started?
Yes, and thank you so much.
Okay, no problem. The only thing is, I'm going to be sharing my screen to have to give a tour of the platform, but I think I need to become a presenter to be able to start sharing my screen.
Okay,
Chantal, are you still there?
Is she still there? Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Yay.
Please and thank you.
Yes, I will.
And thanks for listening in.
It's okay.
Good stuff.
Sorry, who am I switching to?
Adriana.
Okay, Adriana, over to you.
Yeah, she needs to be able to present. There we go. Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so before I start sharing my screen, or I can just maybe do it as well. Let's see. Can you confirm with me if you're able to see the Huddle platform properly?
I can see. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We can go.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. All right. So I had a few different elements that we could discuss. So some are for the pre-summit, some during the summit, and then for the post-summit. So for the pre-summit, I know that you have started already or might be starting some pre-events that you're going to be hosting to talk about and share information about the summit, if I'm correct about that.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So the idea is we can start creating communities right now to talk where the participants can start sharing either questions, start discussing about the summit, and that you can be the facilitators for. These questions can also be then shared during the summit. So to start, I'm going to show you how to go and create a profile. So everyone that's going to be involved into the communities that are going to be created will need to have to create a personal profile inside of Huddle. And it's very easy. First thing you do is so www.huddle.com. I'm going to be also sharing with you at the end of today's presentation a very short to-do list, so that way you have all the different steps. So the first thing is, as you go to the platform, you can sign up. So that is very easy. I'm going to show you what that looks like. And this is also very important because all of the different participants for the summit either will need to sign up to Huddle so that they can also share their questions or input inside your communities, or all depending on how you want to organize the summit. There can also be just one facilitator at a table that is entering all the information. So we'll talk about that when we look at during the summit piece. But for right now, for the pre-summit, so everyone who is going to be involved in communities can start creating their personal profile. So you only need to add your email address first, and then you'll go through some very quick questions related to your profile. I'm going to sign up right now just because I won't be able to create a profile right now. But for the summit, what's interesting is there's 3 questions that start, and anyone who wants to complete their profile information after the summit can do so. So it's a very quick sign-up process for anyone to join Huddle. So I'm just going to go ahead and sign up. So you create a username and then a password. Whoops, sorry. Once you are inside of Huddle, so here is my profile information. Just going to show you what that looks like. So there's a few boxes, but the most important ones for the members to start completing is adding a username. They can add also a short description. In your case, since you're going to be creating a personal profile, you can add in the short description a paragraph of your role in the organization. So for example, here I wrote that I'm taking care of the partner relations at Huddle. So you can write it very easily here by clicking on the arrow and adding a short sentence to your profile. Adding an image is also recommended. And for the information as professionals, you can complete some of the sections here. So a bit about your work experience and education, healthcare experience. So these are information you can share, which will make it easy when members go into the communities that you have created to see your profiles and feel comfortable sharing because they know who you are and what your role is, for example. What's interesting for the different participants, as you create your profile, you can add keywords. These keywords are the words that you're following. So, for example, if you are going to be creating a community, I'm just giving an example around, for example, cancer, you can let them know that they can add cancer into their profiles. And what will happen is we are going to be constantly recommending communities, peoples, and topics. Oh, hello? Hello?
Hello.
Oh, yeah. I heard a little beep.
Yeah.
Not
I
sure.
think maybe Geneva just, there's one new person here, so maybe they just joined.
Hi, yes, it's Geneva. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, no problem.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to you.
Thank you.
So I was just explaining that the any participants during the summit or before the summit that joins Huddle will be able to add keywords. You can let the community know what keywords you've added inside of your community. So I'm going to show you how to create a community after. But as they add a keyword, they'll be recommended communities and people that also have those keywords and other topics that relate to the keywords as well. So this is going to make it very easy for them to find the communities that you're creating. So as you complete your profile information, there is one person, so the administrator, that can start creating communities. So here you click on communities. You can either join some communities that are available, or you can start creating communities. So it's very easy. You click on the plus sign. And for your communities, you can add a name for your community, title, a short description. You can select the language of your community, the type. So here is something that is open to you. You can decide to create a public community or a private one. I know for your event, they have to register to participate. So maybe you want to start creating a private community, which won't be recommended across the Huddle platform. And then after the summit, for example, you can decide to change the status back to public. Or you can have a public and a private community available inside of Huddle. So these are things that you can start thinking about. If you have any questions or any suggestions about the type of communities you want to create, we can also look at those once you start creating the communities. Your communities can be visible or hidden. If they are private and visible, it will allow your members to find the communities you created. But they won't, when they want to join the community, you will be the ones accepting their request. So it's not an open community. Hidden makes it very difficult for anyone to find the community because it is hidden. But I'm going to show you how you can invite members if you decide to have a private and hidden community, for example. So here I'm just going to go into one that we have where we conduct all our testings. So this community is hidden from Huddle. So it's there's no way to find it. And it's also private. For me as an administrator, I have this option here to invite members. So if you have a list of anyone that is already registered for the summit, you can type in here all of their email address, click on invite, and they'll receive an email invitation to join this private hidden community that you just created. So that way it'll make it easy for them to find it. If it is visible and you have certain keywords, they can just simply type in the keywords. So I'm just giving an example here, for example, cancer. And as they type in the keywords, they'll be able to find the posts, topics, peoples, and communities that have those keywords, and then just click on join. So if I go back to the communities, so as I mentioned, you can create private or public communities. And what is interesting is you can change those status at any given time. Once you create the community, so you are going to be automatically the administrator for the community. The day of the event, you might want to be the only administrator, or you might want to invite somebody else to help you manage the community. In that case here, you have the option to invite other administrators. So simply type in their username. So for example, if I want Mark to be administrator of this community, and click on invite. Administrators will be the ones who get notifications inside of the community when there are contributions, when the members join the communities. So this could also be a good option, is having at least 2 administrators for the community. So once the community is set up, you have here under settings, other boxes are available to you if you want to trigger more specifically your community. So here, like I mentioned, adding topics. So these are the keywords that you want to associate to your community. And these are the ones that you'll be sharing with members so they can easily find your community. And then you have other boxes here that are available if you want to have your community restricted to some specific province, city, or country. So all of this here is available. You can complete the information. You can add a cover image in the background. So here, just click on the camera icon. We also added the requested pixels for the cover image, and also for the smaller picture here. And as you created your community that is now available, you can start adding something. So here you can click on Start Something, or here as well, Start Something in Huddle Beta Test, for example. And what you can do here is either share information about your upcoming summit, ask the community to start sharing questions. Maybe they want to share what they're looking for to have as information. So there's different ways that you can start engaging with your community. So here you can add a title, you can add a description, adding keywords as well, adding location if that's something that is related to your post. So for example, if you want to just remind participants that where the location is, you can add all of the different details in the post, and then here add a address so it's also visible inside of the post. Once you click on Start Something, your post will now show here under the community. So I'm just going to go back to a community that has posts just to show you what that looks like. So here, oh, I see there's a community. Okay, so there's no post yet. I'm going to go and find another one here. Maybe one in English, that would be easier. Okay, so here we have autism. I know there's, okay, here it is. So here your first post will appear. Your post here is like a thread. So it's an open discussion. So it's very easy for me to click on the post and then add a contribution if I want to add something, if I have a question, if I want to start a discussion. I have this box here that allows me to add a contribution. Contributions will notify the administrator of the huddle, of the community, about the contribution that has been added. So it's very easy, even if you're not connected to Huddle, to be receiving notifications by email once you have contributions added to the different posts inside of your community. So that's why it is easier if there are 2 people administrating a community. So once the community, so here, once the contributions are done, you can also add comments to the contributions. And you can also, for example, if there is a specific question that has been asked inside of your community, you can also follow up by private messages. So here I click on this purple circle here to start a private conversation with me and maybe Moma, who has a very specific question. I type in her name and then start a private conversation. So the whole idea is before the summit takes place, it's all about reflecting on what communities and how many communities you want to start creating. Some of the ideas that I was thinking would be helpful is having one community for the first day and then another community for the second one. Inside of the community, adding possibly 2 threads, because I know that you also want to have you want to have subgroups that will share information. So for example, if I go back to a community that already has this one here, so autism parents, here's a one thread that it's open. I can have a different thread underneath, and inside of the thread, I can add, for example, this this post is open to anyone that has multiple sclerosis. So I'm making it very clear who this thread is for. And here, for example, this thread is specifically for, so that way when they join the community, they find the threads. You can let them know which thread is the one where you're hoping to get their contributions. They can click on it, and what happens is everything that goes inside the community is safe. So everything is going to be added up here in the community. They'll be able to see the other contributions from other members, and they'll be able to add the contributions. What's interesting is when the contributions start adding inside a thread, there's going to be some tools for you to be able to sort the information that's being shared. So for example, you'll be able to sort it by the most recent, the ones that have the most comments, for example. So all of this is going to be available when they start adding information. So what I was suggesting is either you can let members know that the day of the summit, they can bring in their tablets, their computers, and that way they can sign up to Huddle in a few seconds, join the communities that you want them to join for the day of the event. And during the day of the event, they can very easily start adding contributions inside of the thread. So this way you have a record of all the information that's being shared, or you can have one person at the table that is going to be the facilitator that's typing in here some of the information that has been shared from the members around the table. So those are two options. And before the summit, what we can do is we'll share with you some material around Huddle. So that way participants, they have an understanding of what Huddle is, who we are, and also some very easy links that they can click on to find the communities that you've created. During the event, Mark Stoll is going to be there. So he'll also be able to remind participants how they can easily join Huddle and can add their contributions to. So as you are the administrators for a community, I'm just going to go back here, for example, you can click afterwards on insights. This will give you some helpful insights, for example, who your members are, what their ages are, where they're coming from, and also for the post-summit, maybe you want to have these communities going on. So this will give you some very basic activity levels. So for example, how many new members do you have inside of your community since the 2 last months? How many post views are they looking at your community? And also from yourself, how many new posts have there been added inside of your community? So some very general activity insights that might help you manage the communities that you created. And as I mentioned, at any given time, you can just switch private to public. So it's up to you to decide if you want to start having private communities for your registered participants and then having them public, or if you want to start having public communities that are going to be recommended across the Huddle network, and then changing them to private. So it's all up to you. So this is something that you can decide, and how many communities you want to create, that's also something that you can decide. So I'm going to go back here just to show you, for example, once you share with the participants keywords that they should be typing, like I mentioned earlier, they can just type it here and then find either you if they want to connect with you. So very easily, the communities and the post that you just created, maybe that you want them to start sharing about. So it's going to be available here, and other topics or other communities that you might have created that you want to invite them to see. When the members are live, you'll see all of them on the left side of the screen. So right here, I see who right now from my network is active. So this is very easy for the post summit. For example, if somebody has a specific question online, I can decide to send them a private message right away, and chances are they'll have a look at it instantly. And all of the notifications also are here. So you have like a bell that will let you know everything that goes on inside of the communities that you're administrator for. For the members that have joined your communities, they'll also be receiving notifications if you are sharing anything new inside of your community. So this is what it looks like. As the administrator, you'll be able to see when a new member has joined one of your communities. So here I have a notification. And all of these notifications, if you find that they're too much, you can always go back to your communities, and inside of the settings, or even from your personal profile, I go inside my settings, I can have a look at the notifications and select the ones that I would like to receive. So maybe I'm getting too many notifications, I can just turn them off and maybe decide to have only the ones related to the conversations, connections, and the network activity. So this is also something that is available to you. I don't know if you have any questions up to now, or if there's anything that is maybe unclear or you want me to go back to.
Adriana, I have a question. I'm wondering, sure. Your suggestion to have a community page for each day isn't something that we've talked about before. Is this something that through experience Huddle has seen used successfully? Why is it a suggestion? Just trying to get to the heart of if it's better or not to have separate days.
Sure, that's a good question. I was just suggesting because I know that the two different dates have different workshops.
Yeah.
So that way it would there would be one for a specific date and one for the other, but it's all up to you. What you feel would be what you feel is best for the community is all up to you.
Okay. Yeah, I think that it's really an interesting idea. I just wonder if it might be challenging for members to have to join two communities, which, you know, if they can join one, they can join two. But, you know, there's all of that kind of stuff. I do like the idea of having a contribution thread for each agenda item, kind of for each presenter, speaker, whatever's happening on the agenda. But whether or not it should be two discrete communities is something that I think we need to talk about. But that's just, I was just wondering the why of it. We can figure the why.
Sure, no problem. And it's really up to you to decide on what you want to create for that.
Yeah, and just and to that point, I think we do need to make sure we have a good amount of time on our next steering committee call to exactly discuss that, or maybe we need just a dedicated call. Talking about how we want to optimize Huddle and work it into pre, during, and at least for now, pre-summit and during the summit. I'll also be thinking about post-summit, but I think that the post-summit will largely get defined at the event itself. So, but anyhow, so let's all be thinking about that, and let's please make sure. I don't know if we, at the end of this call, if we could just spend a minute making sure that we're going to have time set up to talk about the specifics of how we want to implement Huddle.
That sounds great.
Everyone else agree?
Yes.
Cool.
I have another question that's just more about process. And Melissa, we talked about this a little bit, so I might be, maybe I missed something. But our understanding, and still today, Adriana, from what you said, our understanding was that you don't need to be a member to view, but you need to be a member. But you need to be a member in order to contribute. And the reason I'm clarifying this is because some people may not want to sign up for anything, but we're still hoping that we can share information before the summit to everybody through this one platform. And when one of our colleagues who couldn't make the call today tried to view the DPPS community that Melissa had created, she couldn't see it. She couldn't find it. And Melissa, I don't know if you were looking at the same settings place that Adriana showed us today, but it sounded like it was visible and not private. And so I'm wondering if I'm
Yeah,
understanding
everything's
that
public. I'm looking at it again. Everything's public and visible and blah, blah, blah. So it should be possible for people to see it, but we're just not finding that.
Yeah, exactly.
So right now into the search, I wrote PPPS, and here's the community. I don't know if this is the one that you are talking about.
Yeah, but if you are not signed into Huddle, if you're not a Huddle member, can you find it?
Exactly.
Well, if you're not signed up to Huddle, there's no way for you to click on search and add any keywords or so there's no way for you to use the platform
if you don't have an account.
Exactly. That's why we made the sign up process very easy. As you sign up, you can later. So it really takes a few seconds for you to just become a member of the Huddle platform by creating a username and a password.
Okay.
They don't need to add the images or description. They can just sign up to Huddle. Click here, for example, on search, find the community that you want them to contribute to, and they can start contributing.
Okay, so they do need to be signed in to find this.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I think what we could do is, I guess, also make sure that we're putting there, CCSN, and I don't know about other websites too, but they do have a central place where they're putting all the summit materials. So if you want to also just put it on the internet and have it available that way, in case there are, anyone doesn't sign up. Yeah, we're going to have to discuss that one, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. These are good questions. Anyone have others?
You might have questions coming up afterwards, or maybe after your discussion, you might have new questions. Feel free to come back to me, and I can always help you with your questions. I'd be glad to. So if you want, don't be shy if any questions come up later, and or if there's anything that you'd like us to help you with.
Perfect.
Thank you,
Adriana. No problem. And what I'll do is, like I mentioned, I'll share with you a very quick to-do list with the different steps, but the platform is very easy. You'll notice it's very straightforward. And also some marketing material about Huddle that you can share with participants so that they understand who we are because they might not know us, and how they can find your communities.
Great.
All right.
Thank you. Okay. We will be in touch with if we're looking for further advice.
Okay, great. So thank you, everyone, for today. And like I said, don't be shy to write back to me if you have questions.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you.
I think the rest of us, let's have a quick chat. Yeah.
Sure.
About, I don't know if we want to do this now. When's our next meeting? Is Rose on the line?
No, Rose couldn't make this call, so she'll listen to the recording.
Okay.
And our next DPPS steering committee call is Friday, the 28th.
I see it. Okay. Is it a jam-packed meeting? Do we have time to focus in on how we think we could use this? We could all think about it between now and then and come with our ideas. There's the pre-summit webinar, so. There's the pre-reads and like agenda and that kind of stuff, and advanced questions that we may want to solicit from people. I think that was some of the last discussion. But basically, what communities do we want to create? Handle administrators? Are the communities public or private, visible or hidden? For the pre-summit and during the summit, right? I mean, that's I think what we're thinking about. Do we have enough time Friday to spend on this, or do we need a separate conversation?
My thinking is that we would have time, even if it's like a 15-minute portion. I think we'd have even that much amount of time, just because everything else is really updating at this point.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Melissa and Leah, but I think we're pretty. It's really now just kind of like check on that things are going smoothly. So I think we would have some time to dig deeper together, and it might give people time to watch or to listen to this.
Yeah, perfect.
Before then.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so so someone's going to send out the recording. Do we know who that is? And we'll ask those who aren't here to please review it. And if any of us want to go back and refresh our memories, great. Let's all think about the communities and administrators and how we want to use this thing. And come prepared for Friday. And is it possible? I don't know. Is it Rose who puts the agendas together?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Could you send her a note, Antonella, please?
Yes.
Just letting her know we want time.
I will do that right now. And I'll
Awesome.
also ask Chantel to please email the recording to everyone. And
Perfect.
when she does, I'll follow up by letting people know hopefully what you just said. Hopefully we can all listen to it. And then we're going to put some time on the agenda, ideally on Friday.
Great.
Okay.
Fabulous. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. That was really helpful.
Yeah, that was. It's good to see the final version of it now live.
Yeah.
So that was helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I look forward to our chat and have a great rest of the week, everyone.
Yes, you as well.
Have a good
Okay.
week.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.